Last weekend, a bunch of friends of mine from my favorite local yarn store, Dan Woolly Stitch, and I went to Knit City, Montreal. And that was my first time attending Knit City. So I figure I'll share it with you. They arrived around noon on Friday, and the hotel rooms weren't ready yet. So we decided to go for lunch. And there was this salad bar that was recommended to us at the hotel. It's called Mendy's. It was a couple blocks away from the hotel. And let me tell you, that was one of the most incredible salads. I know how exciting the salad can be, but those salads were really exciting. So much so that we actually ordered second time on the day when we were leaving to take some salads to go with us. If you are in Montreal, check Mendy's out. And it's not a paid promotion, just an honest opinion. It was one of the best salads I've had. So after that, I went for a walk with Rose and Ellen. We just took a little stroll, a couple hours around Montreal just to see some beautiful buildings around us. And we were just goofing around, basically, taking some silly pictures. Here's one of Rose. We got sort of lucky with the weather. So the forecast was that it's going to rain the whole weekend. But every time we were out, it was either just a touch of drizzle or it was getting dry. So that walk actually happened. It was still sunny. Then, as the clouds were gathering, we went back to the hotel, checked in, and we just spent a couple hours in the lobby knitting, which was very amusing for all the guests because we were knitting right on the way to the elevator. So everybody who was going to the elevator saw us and took a second look, like what this bunch of women doing there. Apparently, knitting in the lobby is an immediate conversation starter. Then we went for dinner, and it was, I can't remember the name of that restaurant, but it was very nice, sort of French Canadian cuisine. And then we got back to the hotel, knitted for a few more hours, and crushed, basically. Saturday, we started really early. I think we had breakfast at like 7:30 or something. We just had breakfast at the hotel there that we stayed. And we didn't stay in the Sheraton, which is where the festival was taking place. We were like a few blocks away. So we had breakfast, we packed our things, and we went to Knit City. If you haven't attended Knit City Montreal, it's a mid-sized festival. There was about 60 to 70 vendors. It's 2 floors of Sheraton. So the fourth floor is where the marketplace is, and it's one large room where a majority of the vendors are. And there is a hallway where there is a few more vendors adjacent to the main room. And then on the third floor, there was a lot of tables where you could sit and knit and chat with your friends, but also there was an exhibit of emerging artists. So I found it very interesting. And I actually met a star of Fiberchats there. Akim, the yarn art guy, had the booth there. So I got to chat with him and, just catch up, even though I just saw him at HH Americas. So it was like, oh, long time no see kind of thing. Saturday morning, the festival was absolutely packed. There was so many people. The line to get in was moving pretty quickly, and we had tickets bought online, and I think they sold out for Saturday, actually. So we had the weekend tickets, and we got in pretty fast, even though the line was really long. A lot of vendors had their special colors for the festival, so people were trying to get there as early as they could to snatch some of the colors. I know La Garçon had special color just for the festival, and that sold out early on Saturday, pretty much. Their booth was one of the busiest, I'd say. Like, there was not even a chance to stop and talk to them and take a picture. I had to wait until Sunday, basically, or Saturday night. What was interesting to me, that majority of vendors were brand new to me. Like, I've never seen them before. So it was very interesting to see new bases, new yarns, new project bags. Everything was new and exciting for me. And I also got to meet with a lot of vendors and chat to them. So you might expect to see some of the Canadian vendors from Knit City, Montreal on my channel in the future for sure. Of course, I also saw some old friends there. So Lise from Trelise, she was there. She was a guest on my channel. If you haven't watched her interview, she's a wonderful hand dyer from Greece. So she was sharing a booth with Julie Asselin, I think that's the name. And Julie is a yarn dyer from Canada. So they were sharing a booth there. And then Paula from Mayak was there, and Julie Crawford, who is an embroidery artist from Toronto. And she also has been on my channel. She was there. She was teaching classes there, and she had a booth. So I got to see her there. She's an old friend as well. And Tony from TL Yarn Crafts, who was also a guest of my channel. There were so many Fiberchat stars there. So she was there. She had a booth. And her mom, Gwendolyn, was there. She's been by Gwen Design on Instagram. And she's a riot. So I always love seeing them together. And of course, one of the latest stars of Fiberchat, Cecilia Campuchiaro, had book signing there. So it was great to see her again. We just saw each other at HH Americas, but it was great to see Cecilia again. But overall, majority of vendors were new to me. So it was super exciting for me to just walk the marketplace and explore. So on Saturday at 1:00, I had the meetup at Mayak's booth. And a lot of you came to say hello and told me that you like watching the channel, and was absolute pleasure to talk to all of you. Thank you for stopping me at the floor and chatting, and it just made it so special. I felt really loved in Montreal because of all of you. One of the most unforgettable meetups was with Nicole Fontaine, who is a long time viewer of my channel. Nicole always writes the most wonderful comments, and I feel like I know her even though we've never met, well, until now. So we got to meet on Saturday, and there was a lot of hugs and even some tears. And Nicole was so kind. She made me these mittens, and it's designed by Roxanne Richardson. And actually, Roxanne Richardson, because you all asked me to interview her, I reached out, and that interview is coming. So stay tuned for that. And by the way, guys, I noticed that only 53% of my viewers actually subscribe to my channel. So if you enjoyed these programs, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to support my channel, because not only you will get notifications about the upcoming interviews, but it also shows my channel to people with like-minded interests. So it shows it to the much wider audience, and it helps me to bring more attention to the artists that I interview on my channel. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Another thing that Nicole gifted me was this most incredible shawl. And unfortunately, I don't remember the name of it. I think it was Swan Shawl. I can't remember. I'll ask Nicole. Nicole, please put it in the comments. Let our viewers to know what it is. But this is one of those gifts that I will cherish for the rest of my life. And it was so touching. I just can't even describe. When somebody gives a knitter a handmade item, and especially such a beautiful handmade item, it's just a different kind of feeling, like nothing compares, truly. Saturday night, we had dinner at our hotel, and we also invited Cecilia Campuchiaro with her friend Catherine and Liz from Trelise to join us for dinner. So it was absolutely amazing, because I got to chat with Cecilia and Liz and Catherine and like get to know them better in very informal situation. It's one thing when you meet somebody at the festival or even have an interview. It's another thing when you break bread together. It's just completely different feeling. You get to know people more intimately. And to me, honestly, that's the best part of Fiberchats. When I get to meet people who I interviewed in real life, spend time with them, become better friends. That's what makes all the difference for me. After dinner, Cecilia and Catherine had to go, but Liz stayed with us, and we were knitting into the wee hours of the night back in the lobby. Of course, that was our hangout place. There were a bunch of sofas there. It was just beautiful lobby. So we were just sitting there and knitting and chatting. The next morning started very early as well because we had just a few hours to hit the marketplace again. So Saturday was more like check it out, see if there is something you might want, but we weren't buying much yet. Sunday, it was a feeding frenzy. My friends went absolutely nuts, and so did I. I thought I'm not going to buy anything because you guys know I have enough yarn in my stash to last me a lifetime, but there was so many beautiful things. So we all bought a whole bunch of yarn. And then after a couple hours at the marketplace, we had to wrap it up, go pack, check out, and fly back home. So we just ordered some of that Mendy's salad to go. It was just perfect lunch. I don't know, something about that salad. I keep coming back to that. And that was it. That was like in and out visit to Knit City, Montreal. I totally see myself going to the future Knit City events. They have some in Vancouver and in Toronto, and I believe some other places. And it's just a great way to explore the city for a few days, like maybe come for a couple of days longer. We couldn't do that because there was a whole group of us, but also I just came from HH Americas and I was exhausted from that event. So it was really a short visit for us, but all of us had that feeling that we want to come back to Montreal and explore it further. It's a beautiful city with beautiful architecture, great food, amazing shopping opportunities, and of course, great yarn vendors at the festival. So if you're considering attending Knit City, whether it's in Toronto, Vancouver, or in Montreal in the future, I highly recommend it. I had amazing time there. And I bet you all want to know what I got there, what was so tempting. So let me show you. Well, the first thing that caught my eye, and I kept coming back to that booth because it just like had my name on it. And you all know my love of lace, so you wouldn't be surprised. So there was this booth called Pirouette, and it was mother and daughter team. And they had the most beautiful and very diverse lace yarn, from cobweb to thicker lace. So of course I had to get some, and it's on cone, and I love lace on cone because it just makes it so much easier to knit with it. So the first thing I got was this 70% mohair, 30% silk, and it's 850 meters and 100 grams. It's called Plume d'At. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. My French is non-existent. So like you can see the gorgeous color and some halo that it will create. And I got 3 cones like this. The next thing I got was 100% raw silk, wild silk, and it's called Sapphire. Yeah, it doesn't give the yardage for this, but I believe it was 1,500 meters or somewhere there. So it's a cobweb. You can see how thin it is. So I figure I just want to play with it. And I love knitting with silk. So that was something really tempting. And the next one is, it was 72% cotton and 28% metal. So you can see how like shiny this yarn is. And I was just super curious to knit with it. And it's 3,800 meters per 100 grams, which is gossamer thickness. So let me see if I can show you. Yeah, you hardly can see it. It's that thin. So I got a couple of skeins of that. So that was my Pirouette purchase. It just makes me so excited to knit with this yarn. So I can't wait. I mentioned to you that Le Garçon were there, and I stopped by Max and Vincent's booth to say hello, but then this yarn caught my eye. And it's hard to see, but it's like really deep, deep blue, not gray like it shows on the camera. It's a little off color. But it's called Edie's Butler. And this is 273 yards per 100 grams. And it is 70% blue face Leicester wool and 30% Masham wool in British DK. So I got a sweater quantity of that. And Max gave me this beautiful bag to put it in. So that was another purchase I made. And then I spotted South African producer, and I believe it's called Labelle's Bouclettes. I don't know, but look at this color. So this is very interesting. It's kid mohair sock yarn. So it's 75% kid mohair and 25% nylon. I don't know, something about this yarn just called my name. And I'm not a sock knitter, so don't expect socks to come out of this yarn. But I think it's going to make a tremendous shawl because it has the softness of kid mohair, but it also has a drape to it. So I think it's going to make a beautiful shawl. And this is 459 yards per 120 grams. So like it says 2-ply worsted spun, grown and processed in South Africa, hand dyed at the farm. So I just had to have, I bought 3 skeins of that. That's all they had. Actually, if they would have more, I would probably buy sweater quantity as well. And I still might make like a summer top out of that. I don't know. Like this yarn really sparks my imagination. The next booth that stopped me in my track was Ginger Snap. And they had this yarn there. So it looks blue with little specks, but in the black light, it looks black. There's this neon color light to it. I don't know. It just was like absolutely incredible. So I had to have that. I want to play with it and see what I can make out of it. So it's called Kai, and it's black light reactive naps in it, stardust fingering weight, 85 to 15 merino to Donegal naps, and it's 437 yards and 100 grams. So I see a very interesting disco top coming out of that. And I also got this color. I don't know. I like the little specks in it, and I just wanted something light. So I don't know what's that gonna be. It's 75% merino and 25 nylon. So maybe socks. I don't know. And I mentioned Lise from Trellis to you. And Lise, I showed her my shawl. So I brought my 5 for 2 shawl, and I actually gifted it to Nicole, and I brought it for that specific reason. But before I gifted it to Nicole, I showed it to Liz. And she absolutely loved it. And she asked me if I can make a sample for her. So she picked the colors for the sample, and this is the colors that she chosen. So the first color, it's on the Eris base. It's 95% superwash merino and 5% silver stellina, and it's 366 meters and 100 grams. And the color called A Reality to Experience. The second one is the same base. It's called Fear in the Mind Killer. Is the Mind Killer. I always love Lisa's names of the yarn. It's just so fun to see what she names it. And the third one, In the Forest You Go. And it's this beautiful turquoise. It's a little darker in real life. So I can't wait to make 5 for 2 with these 3 colors. Stay tuned for that one. And also, Liz was asking me if I feel like designing something with your yarn. And so I picked this one. It's called Star Wars. And it's this dark, moody black, dark gray with stellina sparkles in it. So I'm thinking about the top with that. So she basically drowned me in yarn. Thank you so much, Liz. It was a joy to see you as always. And I can't wait to start knitting 5 for 2 and working on that top for our future collaborations. Overall, it was a delightful weekend. I'm so glad I went. I had the best time there, spending time with my friends, meeting some of the fans of Fiberchats, meeting some of the stars of Fiberchats, meeting new vendors to me, giving invitation to be stars of Fiberchats to some of the new vendors. And I can't recommend this festival highly enough. I hope you enjoyed this little recap. And if you did, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so very much. And until next time, happy crafting.